Hello, everyone. My name is Wilfredo Robinson. I am the CEO at Arctic. And here at Arctic, we aim to create a world where companies want to cooperate with each other to lower our global carbon footprint. But before getting into details, we actually have to do a quick reality check. So, for well over 100 years now, our global carbon emissions have only gone up year by year. And the only times in history where this global carbon footprint has gone down have been in Great Depressions, financial crisis, world wars, and most recently, a global pandemic. So is it really true that the only way for our carbon emission to decrease year on year is for a cataclysmic event to happen? We at Arctic think that's not the case. At Arctic, we believe that companies want to work together, just like us individuals, to lower our global carbon footprint. So what's stopping them? Well, the first thing that needs to happen is that companies have to be willing to share information with each other and cooperate. So the EU actually had this same question, and they created the i3 Marketplace project. And here they asked companies the following question. Imagine a marketplace where you could share your data with different companies and cooperate to get to greater heights. What do you think? And the answers were actually quite interesting. The first one is companies don't really trust data-based marketplaces. Fair. The second one, companies that want the data don't have access to readily available data because the other companies don't share it. And number three, here's the kicker. The companies that have the data struggle to generate value from creating and sharing this data. If we apply these three conclusions to our carbon marketplace, we get the following main customers. The emitters, companies that have the data and are not willing to share it, and the helpers, all the other companies who want this data and want to generate value with it. So if the problems are already stated, surely other companies must have tried to solve them. Arctic can't be the only one trying to help. And currently, there are three types of solutions on the market. The first one is data analytics products. SAP, Salesforce, Tempeh, Persephone. All these companies providing analytics tools for the emitters to analyze their own emissions and gain insights from them, but not to share this data. Solution number two, the carbon emission allowance marketplaces. The main one in the EU being the emissions trading system, ETS. Companies visit this marketplace annually, and those that are above their legal emission limit buy carbon allowances from those that are below their legal emission limit. Again, only focused on emitters. And the third solution, they are emission databases, the biggest one being climatewatchdata.org. Climatewatchdata.org stores data from over 180 countries, not companies, countries, and shares them in a free-to-access website. The problem is the information here is only up to date until 2016, and additionally, it's only from governments. It doesn't include data from companies, and it's not open to share these data with other companies. So there is a missing link here. There is a gap. There is a place in the market for a solution that allows both emitters and helpers to cooperate and gain value. This is where Arctic comes in. And that is why I'm proud to introduce Arctic. But how does Arctic actually solve all of these different needs? It's actually quite simple. First, both emitters and helpers will have free access to this marketplace. Once they access the marketplace, they will create a profile. Emitters will state what their company is about, and helpers will state what information they usually want and what analytics and expertise they can offer in exchange for these data sets. Once that's clear, then let's go to the first scenario. Emitters will publish their data, both real-time and historic, to our marketplace. Each data set will have a specific price set by the emitter. The helper will access the website and he'll browse all of these different data sets and he'll add the ones he wants to a cart. Once his shopping cart is full and he's satisfied, he will finalize the transaction and buy the aggregation of data from all of these different data sets from these different emitters. In this scenario, the helpers got the data that they so badly wanted, and the emitters got money for their data. But emitters didn't just want money, emitters wanted value for their data. And that is why emitters can also publish projects. And in this project, they state the budget for the project, what information they are willing to share for this project, and what insights and solutions they want from the analysis of this project. Once the project is created, it will be automatically shared with all the helper profiles that match the expertise needed for this project to be taken care of. In this scenario, emitters get value for sharing their data and helpers get money for their services. So how do we make the marketplace secure? Simple. We plan to use the OPC UA protocol to have the emitters share their data through a secure channel with us. It's been tried and tested in the industry for many years now. How do we ensure a transparent marketplace? We plan to use distributed ledger technology. Each time a transaction occurs, the metadata from that transaction will be stored in each of the individual participants' ledgers. Each individual participant will have their own ledger and no one will need to own each other's data. No mediator or central database required, which makes the marketplace transparent and publicly auditable. So to recap, the need for readily available data for helpers, solved. The need for generating value from this data for emitters, solved. The need for a trustworthy and transparent marketplace, solved. And finally, how does Arctic make money from this? Easy as well. We'll take a 15% cut from every transaction that occurs in the marketplace. More emitters, more helpers, more transaction, more cash flow. In this scenario, all three participants generate value from the same marketplace: emitters, helpers, and Arctic. And before we proceed any further, let me show you a quick video of a work in progress of how one of these transactions could look like. So first off, here we have 3 Arduinos in 3 different locations. This is what one of those emitters looks like. They have different sensors and the gas sensors, and we use flame, of course, to simulate the emissions with the gas sensor. The information is sent to MindSphere, as is shown here, and it's ready to be sent to the marketplace. This is what the marketplace could look like. The user starts adding data sets to his cars, to his shopping cart. He starts adding different data sets from different manufacturers to the shopping cart, each with a different price. He goes to checkout, and he proceeds to have the payment done. Once the transaction is done, each individual ledger will be updated with the metadata from the data sharing and from the payment as well. Eventually, the user receives his data. Here, the data from the 3 different power plants, the data from each emissions from one power plant, and this is how it could look like in CSV format. So, where do we start? As much as we'd like to tackle the global market immediately, we understand that we need to start small and we need to start focused. That is why Arctic's go-to-market strategy starts with manufacturers based in Germany. Why manufacturers? Well, 30% of all global emissions are due to industrial processes. 98% of all the emissions generated from industrial processes are due to manufacturers. Additionally, manufacturers have the highest penetration rate of IoT projects in the world. 22% of all investment in IoT projects is done by manufacturers. Next, why Germany? Well, a big percentage of Germany's GDP is due to their manufacturing processes, and 92% of all CEOs in manufacturing are looking to constantly invest in innovations for their processes. These two combined give Germany one of the highest Industry 4.0 readiness indexes in the world. Perfect for what we are trying to implement. So, having said this, what do we need? For our first round of funding, what we need is 300,000 euros to cover all the costs that we'll have for year 0. That is development costs, salaries, prototyping, testing, licensing, servers, and others. Additionally, we consider that we'll need 6 to 8 months from this year 0 to develop the project fully before we can get it to market. What this means is it leads us to a very drastic estimate that our revenue for year 0 will be 0 euros. However, from the last quarter of year 0 to the first quarter of year 1, we plan to gather at least 30 manufacturers from a serviceable, obtainable market of 1,900 manufacturers in Germany. With these 30 manufacturers, and after the first 1.5 years of being in operation as a company, that is when we'll break even and we'll be able to start making a profit. So if we continue and we fast forward a bit, let's go to year 3. By year 3, we expect to have at least 80 manufacturers on board, and by the end of that year, we'll have been able to make a profit of at least 0.5 million euros. And finally, let's meet the faces behind Arctic. Arctic is the perfect combination of data scientists, hardware engineers, user experience designers, business developers, and even 2 startup entrepreneurs to make this concept a reality. Support us so we can help emitters and helpers create value together so that they can help everyone and we can make our planet a better place.